my wrestling fans. Once again, it's the Horror Miser Monty G. And yes, it's time to see how well I did after watching the WWE's latest pay-per-view from the land down under, the Super ShowDown. Yes. Let's see how well I did. Well, they got it on with a great way to start the show with SmackDown Tag Team titles as the New Day wound up winning against the Bar to retain the titles. It was a very great way to start the show. A lot of nice spots. Eventually, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston teamed up for their backstabber double foot stomp on the top rope to earn the victory, and they retained the titles. And I start off the evening right, 1-0. Next, we have the SmackDown Women's Championship as Becky Lynch defends her title against Charlotte Flair. Once again, the crowd was behind Becky Lynch this entire matchup. Now, she does a couple of heel things. Once again, trying to, I guess you say, keep the heel persona. But the crowd still loves her. It doesn't matter what she does. Everyone loves Becky Lynch. It was another great, fantastic matchup. Like I said, Becky Lynch did a couple of heel things, like she went off to the ramp and took her title belt, but Charlotte came back and eventually dragged her back into the ring. Fortunately, Charlotte won the match by DQ, but because the WWE's rules, Becky Lynch is still the champion. It was a nice matchup. I expected Becky Lynch to win, but I expected also to retain the title. So even though Charlotte Flair won, Becky Lynch is still the champion. So I really don't know how to rank that, because I mean Charlotte Flair won, but she didn't win the title. So I guess you can call that a victory for me. So I'll give myself a victory. So now I'm 2-0 for the night. Yay, me! In the match that I really predicted this was going to happen with John Cena and Bobby Lashley defending against Elias and Kevin Owens. After the heels did their little damage, John Cena and Bobby Lashley went on to beat the matchup. John Cena actually came up with a new move called the Doom Finisher. But they went on to beat Elias and Kevin Owens, and I'm off to a hot start, 3-0. In a tag team matchup, we have Asuka and Naomi versus the Iconics, and I really should have realized that I'd forgotten that the Iconics are actually from Australia, and they got a nice ovation from the crowd. It was a nice matchup, but I actually not should have saw this coming, because this is their home crowd, and the Iconics got over. They went on to win the matchup, and it was a nice win for the Iconics. So that drops me down to 3-1. In a matchup that was probably the match of the night, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match with a no discount out, no disqualification, and they went after it with each other very well. At one point, Samoa Joe was fringing a knee injury. They hit each other with fantastic moves. Had a couple of times where Samoa Joe put on a Kuna Clutch. It was another time when AJ Styles put on the Crab Crusher, I think that's what it's called. But eventually, AJ Styles would want to win the match again and retain his title. It was a brilliant matchup, and I thought it was very entertaining, but unfortunately now I'm dropping down to 3-2. Ooh, I'm in trouble. Once again, we have Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins, Nikki and Brie Bella, versus the Riot Squad. It was a very entertaining matchup. Ronda, who is now way over, got a grand entrance, and everyone was cheering all along her. It was a pretty good matchup between the ladies and the Riot Squad, but eventually Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins, they actually win. I actually thought that the Bella Twins were actually going to be turned heel and go up against Ronda, but they didn't. But give Ronda Rousey credit. She really held her own up in this matchup, and she's really become a very dominant force here. Become a really impressive for in-ring work. I think with more seasoning on her mic skills, that she definitely will become a major player in the WWE Women's Division. But that also dropped me down to 3-3. For the Cruiserweight title ship, we have the current champion, Cedric Alexander, versus Buddy Murphy. And again, I should have realized that he is also from Australia, and there were some excellent moves in this matchup. But we actually have a title change. Buddy Murphy went on to win the Cruiserweight Championship, and it was a pretty good matchup. But it also dropped me down to 3-4. It's not a good night now. And perhaps a very crazy matchup, we have The Shield, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose versus Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. Lots of nice spots throughout the entire match. Of course, Strowman doing his strongman thing. There was an incident where Reigns was trying to go for a super punch, and Roman got out of the way and actually hit Dean Ambrose. There were moments when everyone thought that Ambrose was going to actually turn heel, but he didn't. He stayed true to his form, and the Shield went on to win the matchup, and it gets me back even at 4-4. And perhaps one of the quickest matches I have ever seen between these two. Daniel Bryan versus The Miz to become the #1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. And perhaps one of the fastest matches I ever seen. The Miz was trying to go for the crow crushing finale. I'll get it right. But The Miz wound up losing the matchup after Daniel Bryan rolled him up for a quick 1, 2, 3. And The Miz was so pissed off at the ref for counting so fast. I'm pretty sure we have not seen the last of this feud. I think what's going to happen is eventually when Daniel Bryan will go up against AJ Styles for the heavyweight title ship, and The Miz is going to interfere. That's just written all over the case, but at least it keeps that feud going on. I think they're going to have this feud continue probably until WrestleMania. And here we go, the match and the main event. We have our old school wrestlers. Well, I guess you can call them not old school wrestlers, but legends, I guess you can say, as The Undertaker takes on Triple H. And what was billed as supposed to be the last time we'll see these two match up. Now, of course, we had Shawn Michaels from Triple H's corner, and then we have Kane in The Undertaker's corner. It was a back-and-forth matchup. There was a couple of nice spots where The Undertaker tried to do old school, and Triple H caught him. And Triple H tried to do the same thing, and then The Undertaker caught him. It was pretty wild matchup. Obviously, a lot of interference because they eventually make this a no disqualification, no count-out matchup, so that way the other parties can get involved. There were a couple of times where Shawn Michaels got sweet chin music on Kane and The Undertaker. There were a couple of times where Kane chokeslammed Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker chokeslammed Shawn Michaels. But eventually, we saw Triple H get out his sledgehammer, his pendant sledgehammer, and he hit Kane and The Undertaker with it. Eventually, after a few chair shots and a couple of sweet chin music and a pedigree, Triple H actually wound up winning the matchup. But it's what happened after the matchup, which was pretty fascinating. After the match is over and after Triple H and Shawn Michaels celebrated, they eventually got Kane and The Undertaker up, and they all hugged each other, and everyone stood up in the ring and celebrated, and the fans loved it until The Undertaker and Kane both turned on the click and gave them both 2 stone pile drivers. You couldn't ask for a better ending. Oh man, I was cracking up laughing. I thought the whole thing was funny. But what other way you can end it? Was nice to see these men. It was a pretty good matchup. The Undertaker wrestled very well for a man who's close to 50 years old. He's over 50 years old. It was some nice spots that he did, so it's nice to see that he can actually still do some of the stuff. You got to give Triple H credit. He took a lot of nasty bumps through this matchup. And it was nice to see Shawn Michaels do some sweet chin music. These men still know how to put on a good show. And I was very, some people didn't like the fact that that these guys were headlining. I really don't have any problem with it. As long as they're not taking up roster spots on the main roster, every now and again you can have these matches that featuring guys like this every once in a while. And I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it was booked very well. I'm pretty sure we probably have not seen the last of this feud. Like I said before, I think what will happen is we might see this again at WrestleMania. Don't be surprised if you do. But hey, look, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. So, unfortunately, since I picked The Undertaker, that dropped me to an even 5-5. So, I did average. But in all, it was a very entertaining pay-per-view. It was a lot better than the Saudi Arabia one, the Great Bash, whatever they want to call it. Yeah, like I was saying, the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. So this was better booked, very entertaining. So I thought it was a great show. It was a nice way to end the show. So I really did enjoy this pay per view. So my wrestling fans, what have you thought about this show? Did you enjoy it? Did you like the Undertaker Triple Threat? I mean, the Undertaker Triple H matchup. Did you enjoy the card? Leave your comments down in your comment section below and tell me what you thought about the Super Showdown. Well, that's my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And once again, if you did, please give it a thumbs up because it does help the channel out a lot. And once again, this is your first time here. Please hit that subscriber button. Ring that notification bell. That way you can come and enjoy the horror experience with me, the Horror Miser Monty G. And as always, all my social media links will be down in the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember, horror and wrestling rules. I'll see you guys later. I'm out. Peace.